Today, I want to talk to you about the May 1st, 2026 full moon. It's a very critical and important time in the political spectrum and in the lives that are impacted by the emotional turmoil and confusion that's going on collectively. It's a time when you can rebalance yourself, where you can align yourself to what's important to you. And it's a very important time to recognize that you're picking up energy from all around you. And the energy you pick up is very tension ridden because people are confused. Not everybody. Many people are very clear and are very optimistic and see a good future. And that's balanced like on a seesaw with the people who see doom and gloom. What will happen? None of us knows, because we are in a time when, despite what the charts that I read show, we know that geophysically, astrophysically, there's a lot of activity on the sun, on the cosmos, and that energy that's being activated, causing solar flares, earthquakes, earth changes, political unrest. And we, as humans living on the planet, can only take in what we can take in and transform it. And that's what this May 1st full moon is really about. It's about transformation, your own transformation, and the transformation of how you communicate and think about things with respect to other people. So let me get into a little bit of the charts. They may be of interest to some of you, and to some of you, you may just want to listen to the content of what I'm saying and not get caught up in the technicality of the data that I'll be basing my conclusions on. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is what I call the mandala synthesis. It is the chart that I use to run my charts and to read my charts. And the meaning is defined by the tree of life at the center, the chakras. The charts are calculated based on your birth data. But in addition to that, and mine is the only system that does this, Noble Energy Maps, I also look at 3 months before you were born, a week before you were born, 2 days before you were born, and an hour and a half before you were born. And I look at after you were born, same time frames, an hour and a half after you were born, 2 days after you were born, which is when attachment happens, a week after you were born, which is when the soul really anchors within you, and then 3 months after, which is a manifestation time. And developmentally, it's when a baby can reach for objects, has choices, and now has a cortex that is registering. So at 3 months of age, it's very important to note that at 3 months of age, 99% of the population have everything they need to manifest their fullest potential. So I use in my work multiple calculations for all of those time frames, and I look at how they affect the different worlds, because the calculations correspond to the timing of how things operate on the other levels of our being. The mental waking world is the world that we live in. It's the world where it takes 3 months to develop and to manifest. And it is that world that is our reality. And it triggers our physical, biological world to feel stress, to react, because we're reacting to what is healthy and good for us and what isn't. So those two worlds are the only two worlds that have the solar plexus, the emotional center. I'm bringing this up and showing it to you because it's very relevant to where we are cosmically right now, and you understanding how these energies interface with one another can prevent a lot of dissonance and angst emotionally for you at this time. And that's why it's so important to go over this with you today. Notice that the spiritual world and the emotional angelic, and I labeled it that way because they're the two worlds where transformation truly happens. They're the world of the soul, the world where we know that in our higher consciousness, we are not reactive. We are compassionate and loving, and we use creative intelligence to analyze situations. So these are based on the Kabbalistic tree of life. And it's very important to note that the solar plexus and the splenic center are connected. And the tarot card that is connecting them is the Tower card, the card where we break down false belief and move into a new perspective that is much more loving and compassionate. So the charts that I'm looking at for May 1st, and I will get to the astrology for those of you technical people, but I want you to look at this visual because in the human design body map, we would say that this is a time of a single definition emotional generator. I don't see it that way at all, because notice that so many of the charts that went into defining and go into defining the next 3 months, there is no sacral center activated. So a lot of people are going to feel confused. Do I know what's right? Do I not know what's right? Where should I put myself? What should I do? I'm emotional. I'm angry. I'm reactive. Those are lines you're going to be experiencing from people. Not that they're going to say it, but the emotional energy that triggers them is going to be strong. And it's coming from the self center to the heart center, to the solar plexus, to the root, to the sacral in the waking world. But on the inner plane, we're sensitive and we may react physically or emotionally. And I want you to note that here's the chart for May 1st, and it includes all 4 of these. And there's a composite, which I'll show you. And then as we develop over the next 3 months, there's still emotionality, but within about a week, there's going to be a push to express that emotionality in manifestation. That's a warning that I'm giving you. If you feel emotional between now and a week from now, wait. Do not react. Do not take action based on your emotions, because here are the composites. And what you can see is that the composite for your consciousness on May 1st is right here. And you're reactive. And you want others to see what you see, to know what you know. Are you right or are you wrong? I don't know. You don't know. You have to wait. When you wait for the full 3 months, and let me go back and see when you get it, but you get it within a week. So within a week, you're going to know what you know because you know it. And when you know it, nobody can tell you you do not know it. And you're not stubborn or selfish. You are finding the role that you want to play at this time in the cosmic history. And I would recommend to all of you that over the next week, you take time to be in your own space and to ask some very clean questions of yourself. These questions: am I in the right perspective? Am I going in the right direction for myself? Is the direction I'm going in moving toward or away from my goals? What do I know about my emotions now? What I'm seeing in the charts is that ultimately this cosmic time is very much about listening to yourself, not to what you're being told, not what you're being fed on social media or in the mainstream media or even in alternative medias. There's a lot of fear mongering and there's a lot of emotional baggage being brought into the mix by the people reporting on it. Ultimately, You are your own person. At 3 months from now, so that will be August 1st, things are going to come together for you. Now, I want you to notice that between now and August, everyone on the planet is sensitive to the energy of other people. If that energy is frantic, fearful, combative, or compassionate, it will be picked up. How and what you react to is your choice. I would highly recommend that you do inner work over the next 2 weeks, and that while you're doing that inner work, you journal about your own goals, perspective, and what you want to happen for yourself over the next 3 months. Not what you want to have happen in the world for yourself. You only have the power over your thinking, your feeling, and what you manifest. So this is a very important time. Notice that even in all three composite charts that we're looking at for May 1st, there's no crown or acha. So people are going to be all over the place with their thinking. Stay focused. Listen to yourself. Use this time. If we look at the full moon astrologically, it's very interesting that there's 5 planets in Aries pushing your psyche, pushing your values, and asking you to delineate what values and what things are right for you. And the moon, this full moon, is a full moon between Taurus and Scorpio. Scorpio is a very intense sign. And it's 5 away. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in Pisces on the Dwag level. So when we look at the moon and we see that there's an openness in how you're orienting yourself and what you're feeling, it's important that you be clear on what you want to have happen for yourself, for your family, for your business, and even project and pray for what you'd like to have happen in the world. I also printed out on this PowerPoint, which will be available if you're interested, and we'll put a link with this video in case you want this PDF, and you'll put in your email and get it. I put into here the patterns of orientation, as I call them. It's what Ra and the human design people called the incarnation crosses. However, what I found in my scientific research was that profile by number, like a 4-6 profile or a 1-3, is meaningless from a statistical, psychological standpoint. It's an artifact of the math. But what is useful is to see that on this full moon, you have the patterns all talking about 4 ways, 4 worlds. And you get on this full moon to decide how you want to orient yourself over the next 3 months to realize your goals. Now, in 3 months, we have the orientation in the following way. We have the 4 worlds or the 4 ways, and then the pattern has the alpha and the incarnation. So that tells me, and you can take these words and you can say, what do I know about the 4 ways or the 4 worlds? What do I know about alpha? And when I'm alpha, what do I know about that? And what do I know about incarnation? Now, in the Tree of Life, tells us that we go from our gut, from our sacral center, from our inner knowing, to incarnate in a body. We enter into 4 worlds of consciousness. And then as we begin to move through our evolution developmentally, we have tasks to master. And in the May 1st full moon, the task is clearly mastering the emotions and knowing that we are here to be a higher consciousness than just a physical body. The 31st path of intelligence tells us that. It's called the path of renewal, of perpetual intelligence. It's a path that says we incarnate into a body, but we are more spirit than we are flesh. And this is not the first time that we've been in a body. So what I want to leave you with as I stop this sharing is that we're living at a very interesting and very important time for the planet and for us in our consciousness. Make use of this time, starting May 1st and going over the next 3 months, to make sure you're going in the direction that's right for you, that you are not doing anything by emotional triggers, and that from the collective standpoint, you're staying in your lane. You're not letting the energy of other people take you away from your goals, your consciousness, and you're integrating emotions into compassion and love, which will bring you to peace and joy rather than to anxiety and stress. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Dr. Eleanor Haspel-Portner. You can go to my website, Noble Energy Wellness, and in the comments below, put your email or email me at nobleenergywellness.com, dreams@nobleenergywellness.com, and you can get a copy of this PowerPoint. Thanks for watching.